I'll be demonstrating how to knit a gusset for a cuff down sock using the magic loop. So looking at my demonstration sock, you can see that we have knit the gray part, then we went and knit the blue part, which is the heel flap. We did the turn heel in the white. So now it's time to return to magic loop knitting and to knit this yellow area of the sock called the gusset. And it is actually the widest part of the sock to accommodate the widest part of your foot. So we will be picking up stitches and making that area large for your foot, and then we will decrease to return to the original number of stitches for your foot. Here on our sample sock, we have done the cuff, the heel flap, and the turn heel. Our needle tip is facing to the left, and we've just finished a right side row. So now we are going to pick up stitches along this side of the heel flap. Now your pattern will give you a suggested number of stitches to pick up in this area, and it is best to pick them up as evenly as possible, and you want to pick them up in the same line. By that I mean you don't want to go here and then next time here. You'll have a jagged, create a jagged, it's not really a seam, but a line. So you want to just kind of uncurl that heel flap and pick up a stitch with just this right hand needle here and go under a stitch, wrap your working yarn around and draw a loop through, and that is picking up a stitch. Now depending on the pattern you use for the heel flap, very often you may have some slip stitches here on the edge. I'll see if we can come in a little closer here. You can see right here this is a slip stitch. If you don't have a slip stitch edge, you will have at least knit stitches, and I usually just like to go under that whole slip stitch, but you can go under half of it if you like. It's your choice, and try to pick up the required number of stitches that the pattern asked for. Now as I'm picking up along here, let's say that you're cruising along and you're picking them up evenly and in the same line as you go along, but you find that you pick up one more stitch than the pattern asked. Well, one more stitch isn't going to make a difference. You just want to try and pick up the same number on both sides of the heel flap. If you pick up an extra stitch, that just means you'll have one more decrease to do, and it really will not make a difference in your sock. So here I am to the last stitch I'm going to pick up along the heel flap. And all of this time we have abandoned the magic loop, but now it's time to return to it. So I'm going to go ahead and get back to starting position for the magic loop, which is needle tips facing right. My working yarn is in the back needle as it has been when we do the magic loop. I will slide the back needle out so that I have about half of my cable on the right side. And now I'm going to go ahead and knit these stitches that have been resting the whole time we did the heel flap and the turn heel, and this will now be our instep, which is the top of the foot. You can do it in a design pattern. You can continue the leg design down the foot for the instep. On this sock it would be a knit 2 purl 2 rib, but I'm just going to go ahead and knit across to try to get there a little quicker. So I'll work my way across, and because I am back to working in the magic loop, there I am at my last instep stitch. So same as we've been doing with magic loop. Oh, I have one more. There we go. Now I've knit across my instep, all on the back needle. So back to magic loop, and even though I have a kind of an odd looking front needle because we were picking up stitches, that's okay, but we're back to magic loop. So needle tips facing to the right. I'm going to slide the back needle out, and so that I have about half of the cable here. Now I am to the other side of the heel flap. and I need to pick up stitches along this heel flap so that I can have all of my stitches joined in the round again. So on this side of the heel flap, I am going to go ahead and pick up my little slipped stitch edge, or whatever edge that you have on your sock. And I'm going to pick up until I get to this needle here, or the end of the heel flap that is waiting for me. A couple more and I'm there. One more ought to do it. And now I am to the rest of these stitches here that are on the left hand needle. I'm going to go ahead and just plain knit those stitches, so all knit, because this is going to be the sole of our sock, or bottom of your foot. So most people prefer to have that in a smooth knit stitch. Feels good on your foot. So we have this huge amount of stitches on this back side of our sock, but that is what is going to create the gusset and allow for the largest part of our foot. The good news is that this side isn't in pattern, so it generally goes pretty quickly. So now I will work around, and now I have, when I turn this, you will see, get back to magic loop starting position. Now we have something that looks a little different here. On our front needle will be our instep stitches. The back needle, let's see if I can spread them out a little so you can really see, the back needle has way more stitches than the front needle because it has all of those pickup stitches that we did plus our heel stitches here. What we are going to do is we are going to be decreasing on each end of our heel stitches every other round until we get back to our original number of stitches. So we are on magic loop, and I'm going to go ahead and we just pattern across instep, and by pattern I mean whatever design your pattern calls for or what you choose to do. I'm just going to go ahead and knit the top of my foot, and then we are going to do a different decrease at each end of the heel. On one side we will be doing an SSK, which is a left leaning decrease, and on the other side we will be doing a knit two together, which is a right leaning decrease, because you will want the decrease line to lean in the correct direction. And so I have finished across the instep, and I'm going to go ahead, and now it's time to decrease over the heel stitches. So it can be a little, I'm going to get a whole lot of stitches that we have to put on here. Scoop them up, and how I like to decrease for my formula is I am going to knit the first stitch of the heel, and that kind of keeps that gap a little bit closed for us. Then the next thing I'm going to do is to make an SSK. Slip a zip to knit, slip a zip to knit, and knit those two stitches together. That is a left leaning decrease. If you want a little more practice or a more close-up on how to do the SSK, I do have a video on that. So once I do that SSK, I'm going to create a left leaning decrease line on that side, and then I'm going to knit all the rest of the heel stitches until I have 3 stitches remaining. The reason for that is we are going to decrease 2 stitches into 1 and then knit that last stitch that butts up next to the instep stitches. So working across all these heel stitches, and you really can see how many more stitches that we have when we pick up for the gusset, but as I said earlier, that's to accommodate for the biggest part of our foot. Working my way there. time to do the decrease on this side. And here I am. I have 3 stitches left on my heel. Now I will knit those 2 together, because that will make a right leaning decrease for our right leaning decrease line. And then I'm going to go ahead and just knit the last stitch. So that is the procedure that we follow for the gusset. We will continue doing this the next round, since we decreased on the last round. This next round will be just pattern across the instep in your chosen design, all knit the back stitches, the back needle or the heel stitches, all knit with no decreases, followed by the next round was a decrease round. Pattern across the instep, knit 1, SSK, knit 2 last 3 stitches, knit 2 together, knit 1. And you'll repeat that until you return to the original number of stitches. Happy knitting!